Pierre, you've had a tough task so far. It's been a turbulent time for the franchise, but what are your main priorities this season?
Obviously, this season we need to see progression. We're obviously going to be in a rebuild, so it'll be, there'll be some ups and downs this season, but as long as we see progression from our younger kids, a good integration with our veterans, I think if we see that, we'll be very happy with our season.
One of those tough decisions, obviously, this week, placing Zack Smith on waivers. What was your reasoning behind placing the veteran on waivers?
It wasn't easy. It was probably the toughest discussion that I've ever had with a player. Zack is a high character person. He's a heart and soul of that dressing room, but at the same time, it was performance related. And it was, we knew that if we let the team know that we're not going to accept what happened last year, including how Zack played, that hopefully the message will be passed to the room.
What now is your idea? What will you do with Zack Smith?
Zack is playing for us tonight. He's part of this team. We know that he's going to rebound from a big year, and the idea is to play him with two good players, and we look forward to seeing him play well.
You knew I'd ask about Erik Karlsson, so here's my one Erik Karlsson question. You were the man who ultimately were in charge of drafting him, if you will. I know you were the GM, but you put out a big call for him. You were the man that traded him away. So are you any regrets of how the saga all played out?
No, not at all. When you trade a player of Erik Karlsson's magnitude, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people, a lot of unhappy fans. But at the end of the day, where we are as a team, we just felt that this was the right time to do it. Erik gave us a lot of good hockey for many years, and we just felt that this was the right decision and right direction for the team to go.
He was also your leading scorer since he came into the league almost. You also traded away Mike Hoffman in the offseason. So I know it's only preseason. You've only scored 6 goals in 4 preseason games. So where's the offense going to come from?
Well, I think our offense might come from a few things. I think it'll be more by committee. I see right now we feel that we got 3 to 4 lines that can produce compared to stacking up a few lines compared to last year. And at the same time, I hope and I pray that our power play is better.
You made a big investment in taking Brady Tkachuk at the draft, 4th overall, instead of giving that pick to Colorado, what everybody talks about, so it has to go to them this year. 3 months after the draft, what are your thoughts on taking Brady Tkachuk?
I think of all the decisions we've made as a hockey operations group with Meet the Head, it's one of the ones that I'm the proudest of. Getting a player of Brady's character, talent, all the intangibles, just I think is going to reset this franchise in a positive rebuild.
You said in April that if Guy Boucher was to return, that there needed to be change. So what does Guy Boucher need to do to this organization and as a coach this year, who's in the final year of his contract?
I think being in his final year of the contract is not a bad thing. I think Barry Trotz had a pretty successful season in the final year of his contract. I think for Guy, I think he's just got to get back to the way he was in the first year. I think obviously there's going to be changes. There's going to be changes in our structure, how we play. I think how the special teams perform will be very important. But at the same time, get the most out of your players. If he does that, I'm sure we'll see Guy back for many more years.
Normally you tend to talk to your players before. I think it's either the start of the training camp or the start of the season. So what will you tell them going into this year?
A lot of people have been wrong about expectations. I don't think many people are pegging us to be a very good team this year. Let's surprise them all.
Finally, your team is in full-blown retool. How will you measure success this season?
Well, obviously we got to be better than where we were last year. I think, as I alluded to it in the first question, we got to see progression. We got to see progression from our younger players. We got to see a progression in our system, how we play. We want to be a more puck pursuit, more puck possession team, and wins will have to be better. But we've got to take a huge step forward as an organization in this rebuild.
Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you, Brent.